If like lupine syndrome was a real thing, that, every full moon, some members of the population just sprouted hair, that would be considered like, it'd be considered like a medical condition. And I don't know, like, you want hair on your head. You don't want hair all over your body, including your face. Like, would he be a spokesperson, someone who has this kind of like unwanted medical condition?
Well, no, because it'd be that this sort of like, I mean, to use modern day terms. So imagine one of those Ashley and Martin, style ads, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so, hi, it's me, the Wolf Man. And I used to be, they put up one of those before photos. So it's Wolfman before he was a Wolfman. This was me, completely devoid of hair. And then the full moon comes along and look at this. Here I am completely covered in hair. Down at Ashley and Martin, they've learned how to harness the power of a constant full moon through their revolutionary technology and put it only on the bald parts of your head. And so then you see some sort of like, graphic of like the moon being funneled through this sort of like futuristic machine that's just like going onto someone's head and growing hair. And that's like the technology behind, and that's what Wolf is, that would be like, yeah.
That's a good question though. Like, when it comes to lupine syndrome, and I don't know. Hey, Mike, can you just Google online what in the Twilight universe or something? What do they call, like, what is like vampirism? Is you're a vampire? What's the term for if you're a wolf man, like a werewolf, werewolfism, werewolf, whatever it is? But if you are a bald person, like, why would you suddenly be able to sprout hair? I mean, I think it'd be a lot funnier if there were certain bald werewolves, like. They can't, the disease you have or the condition you have doesn't make you, it makes the hair you have accelerate. But like, if you're someone who's already bald, like you're Hulk Hogan, you're not suddenly growing hair on top of your head. Like that little thing that Hulk has out the back, that'll grow longer, but he's not suddenly growing. And so you would have bald werewolves running around.
I mean, sometimes people say this isn't an edgy podcast, but the fact that we're wading into the world of humor about bald people so recently after what happened at the Oscars is remarkable. But I think you're right. I like the idea because, like, sometimes, for example, my brother, he's going bald on the top of his head, but he grows a much more impressive beard and he has like chest hair and stuff in a way that so I've got lots of hair on top of my head, but I like can't grow a good beard, don't have a lot of chest hair, body hair. So it's not unusual that someone can be balding on top, but still have heaps of other hair on their body. So I think you're right. I like the idea. Like
you
this
can't grow it where it's not there.
Right. That there are still bald werewolves. Like they're completely covered, but otherwise they're just thinning on the top. They're combing it over so none of the other werewolves notice.
And then the reverse is like me, where I'm super hairy from like the neck up and hairy from the knees down, but I'm relatively like hairless here. So when the full moon strikes, I get super hairy, but I'm still like basically naked, which is a problem if you're a werewolf, because at least your genitalia gets covered. When you go to the transformation, your werewolf dick gets hidden by the wolf fur. But for me, because I don't grow hair there anyway, like I'm just going to be running around with my werewolf dick. It's going to be really embarrassing for me. Like before a full moon, I'm going to have to strap a merkin on. Like kind of like wolf fur merkin.
I do love the idea that the werewolf late power only works in places that you're already growing hair, because that would just mean for me that if I turned into a werewolf, I would have even like higher hair on the top of my head and then just like a couple of really long strands of hair out of my nose, some out of my ears, and like a couple of rings around my nipples. And that'd be about it. He's a werewolf, but that's it.
Well, the good thing about that too is it makes you kind of identifiable. Like in film lore, a werewolf becomes a werewolf and it just appears like a monster. No one really knows what it is. It's just this wolf man. But if the werewolf was just exaggerated versions of your own features, like for instance, you could recognize Kevin Bartlett as a werewolf really, really easily, couldn't you?
Right.
It's still like he's got lots of hair here and a few of those hairs are brushed over here, but it's essentially the same guy. It's just Kevin Bartlett if he was a wolf.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea. In fact, I think this should be incorporated as part of werewolf lore, is that werewolves only grow hair in places where they were already pre-existing growing hair.
To see the full video, join our Patreon.
Patreon.com/TOFOP.